Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the WXOU Sports YouTube page. I'm Joey Hayes alongside Bridget Boczar for the women's golf team on OU. I just kind of sat her down, asked her some questions. First question I got is the Pro V1 ball the only ball you prefer to use?
Yes, that is correct. My coach and I did some testing just with stats over the summer, and that's the one that performed the best.
Right.
But the differences are honestly so small. So
Yeah, I know I was listening to another interview with you and Patty Cesarini,
yeah,
and you were saying that the ball you had prior had too much spin on it, so you were actually losing yardage
yeah,
in your shots. And I know a lot of golfers say that the Pro V1 is the best ball in golf, and I could guess that you would say the same.
yep, totally.
Absolutely. What was the best part for you of this season?
I think the best part would probably be our first tournament. That was just really memorable.
Right.
The Oakland women's golf team always goes up there a day or two early because we play with donors, and we've got a lot of friends of Oakland up there in northern Michigan. So just right off the bat, it's automatically going to be a really fun time. And then in addition to that, I played really well, and I broke the school record there. So it's just great
Nice.
memory.
Absolutely. I can imagine the great memory be amplified because you broke the record there. Um, I also wanted to ask, what clubs are you using right now? Like your putter, your wedge, and your driver, and all that.
Okay, so I got new irons last spring. They're Ping. I don't know exactly what they are. I2 something.
Okay.
I really like them a lot. And then I also have a matching Ping putter. And then for my driver, I've got TSR 2 for driver, 3 wood, 7 wood, and hybrid. And then I've got Cobra wedges.
Absolutely. Nice. Do you prefer to have like longer clubs or like shorter clubs? I know some people play with like depending clubs, like based on their preference.
I think mine are standard length, honestly.
Okay.
So
It's
I'm not
nothing.
that tall. Some people who are really tall or really short will have their clubs like altered, but mine are just normal length.
Right. It works. Obviously worked considering your stats this season. Um, how was it how did it feel to win the Chippewa Invitational to wrap up your season?
Oh, that one was a lot of fun. The weather wasn't too great, so automatically the conditions make it tough just to play well. But it is a shorter tournament, so normally we'll play 36 holes on the first day, 18 holes on the second day. But this tournament we only played 18 each day. So
Right.
so there's not really much room for error. Like if you want to win a tournament, you really kind of have to come out from the gate firing. So I had a pretty good round the first day. I wasn't feeling well. I was getting a little bit sick, but I ended up having another solid round the second day. And then just because of the elements, I think the field was having a tough time. So ended up
Yeah.
coming out with the win.
Yeah, I can imagine you were really excited. Did you know at the end of it that you won, or did you have to wait for like all the stats to come through?
Um, I didn't know actually. We do live scoring, so
Okay.
somebody in your group will input scores after each hole, and
Mm.
but I wasn't in charge of that. So we were on like the 16th hole, and I had a really bad lie, and I felt like I wasn't really playing that great. And I saw my coach. I was like, Coach, you need to tell me like where am I at right now? Like, am I even close? Because at that point, I really didn't think I was gonna win. And she said, "Oh, Bridget, you're fine. You're fine." And I was like, "What does that mean?" But I was fine. I think at that point maybe winning by 3 or 4, and I think I maybe won by like 4 or 5 shots by the end of it.
Yeah.
So that made me feel better. She finally told me, "Yeah, Bridget, you're good. You're good. So just relax." So played the last few holes. I want to say 1 under, and then yeah,
Yeah, I remember seeing it. It did say one under. I was like, wow. I mean, I could only imagine like, you know, going through that kind of like elements, like going through the elements on that course. It kind of turns into a mental game, you know,
sometimes yeah,
just because like you kind of you kind of just get cold, get tired of walking and stuff like that. But I mean, obviously, you've been playing golf for a while. I could tell, so you're kind of used to it. Um, I seen this was only your second year, and you're already like at the top of the stat rank. I seen really impressive, honestly.
Thanks.
Another question I had was I seen that your sister was also on the golf team. Is there like some sort of sibling rivalry there?
I would say a little bit. We've always played golf against each other, competed against each other. So that's why we wanted to come to Oakland, actually, just so we can both be on the same team. And it's fairly close to home, so it just made sense.
Right.
Yeah, we definitely compete against each other, that's for sure. In practices, we play games, competitions against each other. And it's always nice just having your sister on the team so you can travel together. And it's good having a friend.
Right. Absolutely. So regarding this season, I also seen that you were also Prairie Farms Athlete of the Week. Was that kind of a surprise to you?
Yeah, I didn't really know. Sometimes I don't really know how they decide it, but I guess athletes who have really good finishes or really good weeks, they will give that award to. So I didn't know. Actually, one of my friends told me when we were sitting at lunch one day, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's nice." So yeah, I was excited and really proud of that too.
Right. What are you looking forward in next season?
Next season is in the spring or next year.
Next spring.
Well, I guess the one thing I'm really looking forward to is our Horizon League championships. They're always in Florida, so it's a really good time. There's great competition there. The Horizon League teams are pretty good this year, especially Youngstown. So I'm just excited to go there and play against them, hopefully win.
Yeah, absolutely. I also seen that you mentioned the fact that you kind of just play to have fun, and that's usually how you win. You don't not really like trying super hard, kind of just like lay back, and that's usually how everything comes to be.
hmm
Have you always went by that?
No, not always. I tend to get really nervous before tournaments. Not many people would know that just by looking at me, but my kind of philosophy is that you put in all the preparation beforehand, before the tournaments, and you do everything that you can. You have a good warm up. But then once you actually get on the course, I mean, the only thing you can do is hit good shots and give yourself good opportunities. So after that, I mean, sometimes things are just out of your control once you get out there.
All right,
So
that's valid. Another question is, what's one? Would you rather? Do you have a stronger short game, stronger long game, or is it kind of
I
just equal?
I would say they're pretty equal. I
Okay.
mean, I've always relied heavily on my long game, specifically driving. I've been working on getting the driver distance up a bit and iron accuracy, hitting a lot of greens. But over this past year, I've been really working on my putting, specifically putts inside of 10 feet, and I have seen improvement there. So I would say at this point, I mean, I rely on them both pretty equally.
Right. Absolutely. Um, through spring, I know that the weather's gonna be a little better. Do you think that since you've been through all this like inclement weather conditions, that your spring season would be even better? I mean, considering that you already did win the Chippewa Invitational, do you think that you probably win the Horizon Championship?
I really don't know. It really depends on the conditions of the course.
Right.
Even though we do travel down south in the spring, the weather can be questionable sometimes. Like, we went down to Florida, Orlando area last spring for our training trip in January, and the weather was not that good. Um,
Yeah.
there are just so many factors that go into it, but the only thing I can do is work hard and prepare, and then we'll just see what happens.
Right. What does preparing and what does practice look like?
So in the fall, we started something slightly different. They were more individualized practice plans. So I talked with my coach, and I wanted to do something different from last year. So I dedicated, like I said, more time to my putting, specifically shorter putts, um, and also more time on the range. I just really love to spend time on the range, dialing specifically wedge yardages and then iron accuracy. I don't know if you know, but as Oakland athletes, we have this thing called a GC quad. Do you know what a TrackMan is?
Actually, I do not.
So in golf, there are a lot of different types of technology that you can use to
Okay.
get stats, yardages, distances, spin rates, and all of that. So TrackMan is just one example of very popular piece of technology that coaches, professionals use, specifically maybe club fitters. And a GC quad is very similar to that. It's
Right.
just a small thing that you can put in front of you when you're hitting on the range, and it gives you all sorts of data. So I've been using that over the summer and this fall, and that's really helped me a lot with my yardages.
Kind of get stuff down to like a science to like kind of
Yeah.
like gauge whether or not you're supposed to hit harder, like where your shots are leading and stuff like that. Yeah, that sounds very helpful. You allowed to use range finders?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, you're just not allowed to use slope. So some rangefinders today have this measurement where they can calculate kind of how much uphill or downhill you're hitting, and then what the effect is in yardage. So if you're going really uphill, it might say plus 6 yards. So you have to kind of play that 6 additional yards if you want it to get to the hole. So you can't use that in tournaments, but you can use it in a practice round, for example.
Right. When did you start golfing in general?
So I started playing in tournaments when I was 7. So, and then my sister joined me maybe the year after that. And then we also have a brother who played golf for the University of Toledo.
Okay.
So kind of a golfing family.
Right. Dad golf at all?
Mhm.
Awesome. So did you kind of just fall in love with the sport as soon as you touched it, pretty much?
I don't know if I really fell in love. A lot of the times I just played with my family for fun. But as I got older and started playing in bigger tournaments, I realized that there was a big opportunity for women in collegiate golf. And I was like, oh, well, if I can go play in college and get my college paid for and play on a great team and compete in tournaments, then why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
So here I am.
Yeah, great opportunity, honestly. I mean, you've showed out. I mean, looking at like this is only your second year in doing it, and you got a lot more time left to be able to I mean, improve your game. I mean, but you've been doing amazing so far, honestly. So how is like the team bonding? Do you guys like are you guys like really like close knit with each other?
Yeah. So this year we got 3 new freshmen, and then we lost 2 seniors. So being a smaller team, we had 8 last year and 9 this year. That did kind of change things up. But I think our dynamic this year is pretty good. We're all pretty close, and I think generally speaking, everyone's really laid back. So whenever we're traveling or just hanging out or at practice, we all get along.
Right.
Yeah.
Has there been any sort of like can you count someone that was really hard to go against or hard to beat, like any like noticeable names in the collegiate level on other schools?
It really depends on the week, honestly.
Right.
There are good players from every single school, and then we go up against different schools each week. So, like the number 1 player on Bowling Green, for example, had a really good week at Eastern Michigan, which was our second tournament, and she ended up winning, and I came in second. But, I mean, it really depends on the week, honestly.
Yeah. Was it a very like kind of close game there?
Yeah, she made like a 10, 12 footer on the 18th hole to win by
wow.
a shot. So it really did come down to the last hole. That was
Yeah.
exciting.
Especially in golf because every shot counts.
Yeah.
Every shot that you don't make is a shot that someone else can capitalize on.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, if you make those bad shots, you kind of just gotta roll with it.
Mm-hmm.
Have you? When did you start playing in high school before you came to college?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to Plymouth High School, so I'm not far away.
Right. On top of that, I also seen that you had, I believe it was 2 number 1 wins or 2 first place wins on your stat sheet. I'm gonna guess one of those was Chippewa, and the other one was. What was the other one?
Well, technically, that's a trick question. They were both hosted by Central Michigan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like the same. Okay. It was the same thing. So coming into the spring season, what do you look for when you are in your senior year?
My senior year.
I know it's kind of far away, but
That is very far. I think the biggest thing right now is just improving by small margins year after year.
Yeah.
So I guess just keep on improving my scoring average, even though that is hard to compare because we do play in different tournaments under different circumstances and conditions every year. But that's the broad umbrella goal, I guess, is just keep improving. I don't know. I guess I imagine myself to keep winning more tournaments, probably the Horizon League Championship.
Yeah, it's definitely a big goal to look towards.
Yeah.
Of course, being a golfer in college, is there any sort of kind of conflict with like your school life and your sports life?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Um, this conflict is kind of weighing on my shoulders every single day.
Yeah.
Just balancing school and golf is hard because you want to spend so much time at the golf course, especially when the weather's nice. And you know that the more you practice, in theory, the better you'll get and the better you can play. But then at the same time, you have tests to take and things to study for and homework to do. So it's really kind of like off and on. Like some weeks I'm really dedicated to golf because we have a tournament coming up. Other weeks I'm really focusing on school because I'm behind in things.
Right.
So I don't know if there really is a balance that exists, but it's just constantly catching up with each of them.
Yeah, it's kind of just climbing this side, and
Yeah.
just trading it back. So have you kind of figured out what your what's the word I'm looking for? What your kind of like end goal this season is? I know that you said that you want to do win the Horizon League championship, but where do you want to be with your game? Do you just want to just make sure that you improve, make sure that you keep your shots low and your score up, you know?
Yeah, that pretty much is it. I mean, a big thing that I need to tackle in the spring is coming back from the winter. It's hard when you take so much time off, and especially being in a northern school. Like you literally just can't play as much as the southern schools, so they have a huge advantage. So in the spring, the first goal is to come back, get my game back to kind of a comfortable position, and then keep working with my team throughout the spring to get better, and then hopefully peak at the Horizon League Championships, and then we'll see where we go from there.
Absolutely. Um, regarding that, um, have you won any noticeable, like, besides like the Chippewa Invitational, like maybe stuff in like high school? Have you won like any big tournaments there too?
Yeah, so my senior year of high school, I won the state championship from Michigan for Division I, and then a really special part of that was that my twin came in second, so I felt like we really took the clean sweep there, and that was just a great finish to my high school career before coming to Oakland. And then this summer, I won the GAM Women's Championship. GAM stands for Golf Association of Michigan.
Right.
So those were kind of two stepping stones along the way. I think especially this summer winning that tournament, the Women's Championship, kind of proved to myself that I was on the right path. Because sometimes you're working hard at something, but you don't immediately see results. But this summer, I think I first started to see results there, and then I've just kept building on that.
All right. Can you like definitely tell like a noticeable kind of like gap in how high school golf was to how collegiate golf is?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Collegiate golf, there are a few different types of people there. I mean, some of the girls are just there for fun, something to put on their resume, something to keep them active outside of school. High school is definitely more serious. When you get to the Big Ten and like the really big school level, all of them want to go pro basically. Not necessarily here in the smaller D1 schools, but they are very good players, and it's just a completely different level of competition for sure.
Okay. I was also going to ask you about your kind of involvement in what I'm looking for. Your kind of involvement in kind of like campus life, are you basically just going to classes and golfing, and that's pretty much it?
I mean, yeah, kind of.
I mean, I can imagine you don't have a lot of time to
Yeah,
do different things and
I
stuff like
have
that.
limited free time for sure.
Right.
I am studying math, so a lot of my time is dedicated to homework, studying, but I'm okay with that. I'm
Right.
okay.
Don't mind me asking, what's your major?
Mathematics.
Mathematics. Absolutely. Um, do you think that mathematics leads into golf? I can imagine that there'd be a lot of like statistics and percents in golf, and
Hmm. Yeah.
just kind of like angling everything, like analyzing everything, and
Yeah, for sure. Physics and math probably, and then in addition to that, geometry. My coach actually takes kind of a geometrical approach, because the golf swing, I mean, it is all about precision and movement and how you can move your body in a way that gets the ball to react in the way that you want. So my coach and I do talk about numbers and math and geometry and stats a lot. So yeah, for sure, there's definitely an overlap there.
right. Um, has there has there been any kind of maybe the word I'm looking for is or question I'm looking for is, have you? I know you said that there was conflict, of course, with your schedule and golfing, and also just trying to find that balance, or maybe just try to climb back up. But I can imagine that golf is kind of like a stress reliever for you, right?
Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes at practice you could just vibe on the range or on the putting green. Um, it's not like other sports where it's so physically demanding. So it's not like you go to practice and you have to give it 100% physically, but it is more focused on accuracy and precision. So maybe you're not completely dead by the end of practice and you don't get sore per se like other sports maybe after they lift or after they're maybe playing soccer or anything like that, but you do have to be focused during practice mentally and think about what you're doing because you really have to get on that right trajectory when you're practicing and stick to it and focus on the drills that you're doing that will make you better. So you can't, like, just because you show up doesn't mean that you're going to get better necessarily. It takes a lot on your part as well.
Right. It definitely takes some hard work to make sure that you're learning and progressing.
Yeah.
Um, another question that I have is, what's your favorite par to shoot? Like 3, 4, 5.
Par fives for sure.
Par fives.
Yeah. I think pros actually have the best like scoring average on par fives just because they offer more opportunities. You can hit the green in two. They're just easier to birdie.
Right. Um, have you? What's your least favorite hole, or least favorite par to hit?
I don't think I have
You
one.
don't think you have one?
No.
Are you? Do you find trouble with like sand traps and of course, water sometimes?
I mean, yeah, everyone struggles sometimes on the course with different things. It also just depends on the course that you're playing. So, like, also depending on where you are in the country. So, southern courses, maybe with different grasses, like Arizona or Florida, you'll have tighter lies. So, those can be a little bit more challenging to hit off of. But when you're on northern courses, the grass sticks straight up. So, you can have like a fluffier lie, I guess.
Yeah. Um. So, would you rather play on courses here or in the South?
Hmm. Um, Probably courses here just because I've grown up here and I'm used
Right.
to it. But the courses in Arizona that we've played are unreal. I mean, the views are so awesome. We can see the desert from some of them. Florida is amazing. I think it's just awesome. The weather is always perfect. So
Yeah, I know there's a lot of golf courses in Florida. Um, do you find a kind of a source of that's what I'm looking for, source of happiness when you are able to succeed or kind of like push through like a hard course?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a sense of satisfaction there. I know our coach tries to get us into better tournaments and play harder courses with faster greens because it's also a good experience. But no matter if I play well or play bad, just playing a harder course in a good tournament against good teams, it's just always good experience and makes you better.
Okay. Do you like faster or slower greens?
Um, I don't know if I would say faster or slower. I just think as long as they're in really good condition.
Okay.
Like at Eastern Michigan this year, the greens were like perfect. They're in such good condition. They weren't particularly fast, but the ball stayed on its line and they were just in really good shape. So that's what I prefer the most.
Yeah, I imagine it'd be kind of difficult to want to hit a ball out of a chunk that someone took out of the course.
Yeah, nobody likes that.
Um, so just given that you've been playing golf since you were 7, um, have you ever played any other sports or tried any other sports?
Yeah, so my sister and I swam in elementary school up until middle school. And then we realized that for high school athletics, women's golf and swimming are both in the fall. So they're both fall sports, so you can't do both. So at that point, we had to pick one, and we chose golf.
Right. Um, so I know, like you kind of like grew in golfing because of you play with family and stuff like that. Uh, you said you did swimming. So do you plan on playing golf past uh, kind of like a more professional level? Like, do you plan on doing it maybe with your family in the future? Like potentially if like teaching your kids how to play golf and stuff like that.
I think I'll always play golf for fun. I don't know about professionally. I mean, there are so many levels above where I'm at of good players who want to go pro. So if I did go pro, it would have to be in a few years after I keep working on my game and get a lot better.
Right.
But yeah, I think I'll always play.
Absolutely. Appreciate your time. Absolutely.
Yeah, my pleasure.
It's great having you. I look forward to seeing what you do in the spring season with the better weather and better conditions. Well, some people's better conditions, but with Michigan weather, it's kind of shoddy weather. It's going to be better conditions.
That's right, yeah.
So,
Thank you so much.
no problem. Appreciate it.